There has been yet another PlayStation 5 patent that has been filed, this one pretty interesting, pertaining to the DualSense controller, and it seems like Sony is going all in with this controller. The new patent isn't any revolutionary technology, however it is revealing sensors for detecting user profiles. That is reminiscent to something they do with phones and things of that nature, so we'll talk that. Also, keeping on the PlayStation 5 topic, Oddworld creators suggest PlayStation 5 will allow players to help each other out more than ever and making it a more social console than ever. We'll talk that, and also a major PlayStation 4 game gets a release date in Yakuza Like a Dragon. Pretty interesting story pertaining this game, given what's going on with this game's X1X version, or I should say Series X version, and then the PlayStation 4 version, so we'll talk that at the end of this video. But first of all, PlayStation 5 DualSense controller new patent reveals sensors for detecting user profiles. As noted on the PlayStation 5 only Twitter account and reported by Segment Next, patent published the 20th of August indicates DualSense PlayStation 5 controller sensors for detecting user profiles. Interestingly and separately from a DualSense, a Vita-type portable console is shown plus keyboard and mouse alongside known PS5 peripherals that including camera, PlayStation VR remote, and headset. Now, this is a pretty interesting aspect, and considering that if you just pick up a controller, it would be able to sense who you are and then immediately get you into your user profile. I'm not the kind of person where I have a billion user profiles on my PlayStation 4. We just tend to share the one profile, and whenever somebody wants to jump into a game, they jump into a game. But I know a lot of people have separate profiles for each of their, or even on their singular console, they'll have 3 or 4 profiles. So this would be a pretty interesting way to streamline that aspect of the console. The PlayStation 5 DualSense controller promises to be a true game changer for the next generation, allowing developers to use its unique features that has been run to the ground at this point, but haptic feedback, you've got the audio upgrades as well, adaptive triggers, all that good stuff. Last week, several developers, including Demon's Souls remake creative director Gavin Moore, revealed how they are taking advantage of the new controller, and you can check that out if you are interested. WCCF Tech has a pretty good article going over all of that, so I'll leave that in the description box below. Nevertheless, DualSense being an integral part of the PlayStation 5 ecosystem and promotional aspects of the console. I've never seen a controller, maybe I'm wrong about this, but a controller hyped up like this. Maybe since like the Wiimote. Yeah, the Wiimote was hyped up, but that's because that was introducing something completely new with motion controls. In this case of the PlayStation 5 DualSense controller, it's a lot of other features that are being introduced, including haptic feedback, adaptive triggers, all that cool stuff. And they are really, honing in on that to be a game changer as far as the consumer experience goes. And if you're adding, sensors for detecting user profiles, I don't know if the sensors can go beyond just detecting user profiles, but you would think they could, but that's something that's still up in the air at this point. Okay, moving on from that, but staying on the PlayStation 5 topic, Oddworld creators suggest PlayStation 5 will allow players to help each other out more than ever. This is coming from Cultured Vultures. And while we know the look of the PS5, the games that will be playable, and its specs, there's a lot of other elements of the PlayStation 5 that's really starting to take center stage. Again, the DualSense controller being one of the primary aspects. According to Oddworld creator Lorne Lanning in an interview with Official PlayStation Magazine, the PlayStation 5 might be trying to cut out the need for online guides, you instead being able to lean on your friends for guidance and also the game itself. Obviously, the friends for guidance thing isn't something completely revolutionary. We've seen like SharePlay being a thing. That's also a big thing on Steam as well, where you can literally have somebody take over. On how the PlayStation 5 will leverage its social features, Lanning didn't want to reveal too much, but it sounds like Sony will be going all in on this aspect of the PS5, noting the social stuff that has been built into the PS5. I'm still not sure about how much I can really talk about it. I want to be careful, but they're doing a lot more things that are like enabling you to sort of open your experience a little wider to your human network of people that you're connected with. Lanning explained further in the interview, there are always ways that it's enabling, sort of helping with problems that you might be having in the game, more intelligent monitoring of people having difficulty, and I wouldn't say AI level, but it's kind of smart things that are going on. Like if you take advantage of this new feature, you'll be able to help your players where they normally get stuck in this way. And so there are some really clever things going on that involve this sort of extension into other networks, other people, other points of feedback, and giving people information on how to play the game better, how the other people might play or solve these problems. It also seems like next gen in general may be wanting the player to stick to the console for everything they need. Obviously, in the past, if you did want to get a guide for a game, you can just go the route of, having your PC right next to you or your laptop right next to you, opening up a guide. I have a pretty sick setup where I can literally look up guides, although I'm adverse to doing that at this point unless there's a secret trophy or something I'm really hunting. But yeah, you understand the hurdles you kind of have to go through, but it seems like they're streamlining that as well. Before we'd say, okay, I'm playing my console game and there's connectivity and there's friend sharing of stats and stuff like this, but a lot of it you're still going to the web to engage in the discussion. I think we're going to see in this generation a lot more of that interlaced, where you're not leaving the console as much to go get other data. It'll be really interesting to see how much the audience takes to it and what they do with it and what developers do with it. So it'll be a case-by-case basis in how the developer really implements it. Obviously, video game walkthroughs is a big element, but I don't think that's going away. People honestly just watch walkthroughs a lot of the time, so they don't have to pick up a game or to see the game in action and things of that nature. I don't really think that interferes with that aspect of like YouTube and Twitch streams. That is something that I saw being talked about a little bit, but I really don't think that's going to be interfering with a lot. I think sometimes we as gamers and consumers tend to think a little bit too in deep on some aspects being introduced, like, oh, is this going to really affect another aspect of the gaming ecosystem or just gaming media in general? And I really wouldn't go that far. I just think they're trying to streamline the features in that, hey, if you want help on a game, you can do so in a multitude of other fashions, like getting a friend for help, the game streamlining it for you. Which is kind of crazy to think about. Back in the day, we'd have to buy like $20 guidebooks, and look, I loved buying me the Final Fantasy XII Collector's Edition guidebook, $35 out of my pocket for that hardcover book, but yeah, it probably would be a lot nicer for those kids growing up to have everything at the tip of their finger. Maybe that'll be something that turns off a lot of old school gamers thinking like, okay, why are we streamlining games? Why are people having access to figuring out hurdles of a game right at their fingertip? Doesn't that eliminate the reason to play a game? Well, you don't have to take advantage of it. Maybe they'll even have a feature where you can turn stuff like that off. We'll see how they ultimately roll it out. But I think evolutionary, it's just positive for video games in general to go down this route. And again, if you don't want to utilize it, the option should always be there to turn it off or something like that. Lastly, I do want to note, Yakuza Like a Dragon for PlayStation 4, Xbox One, and PC launches November 13th in the West. Now, this is why this is interesting. The Series X version is due out on the console launch, PlayStation 5 at a later date, so that's a little bit of a bummer. I don't know. Yeah, there's definitely some sort of deal that's been struck, and I don't know the exact specifics of it, but Yakuza has been a PlayStation franchise for the longest time. Obviously, it's had its releases on PC recently and Xbox One, but it seems like Microsoft went above and beyond and got some sort of deal to assure that Like a Dragon would be first getting an upgrade on the Xbox Series X, and then PlayStation 5 at a later date. A little bit of a bummer in that regard. I don't really see like the necessity of locking something like that out. If you're gonna go the timed exclusivity route, I would imagine that, you know, getting something like a Rise of the Tomb Raider exclusive for a year or a Final Fantasy VII Remake exclusive for a year, that's very beneficial. To get an exclusive that's an upgrade to the next generation console exclusive, I don't really know how much beneficial of that is, but Microsoft is going the route of also getting a lot of timed exclusives. State of Decay 2, Stalker 2, you've got that Warhammer game. They're definitely acquiring stuff, but something like this I don't really see that advantageous. Whatever the case may be, the game will be out November 13th, and that's going to conclude this video. Again, PlayStation 5 gets another pan sensing a DualSense update with a new pan sensors being possible. That's pretty interesting. Oddworld creator suggests PlayStation 5 will allow players to help each other out more than ever, and Yakuza Like a Dragon for PS4 drops November 13th. That's going to conclude this video. Sound off with all of your thoughts in the comment section down below. Thank you for watching, and goodbye. Hey guys, we hope you enjoyed the video, and if you did, make sure to hit the subscribe button, and if you're already subscribed, do us a favor and hit the bell icon. This way you'll be notified whenever we post a new video. That's the best way to keep up with all of our uploads, and we usually try to upload 2 videos a day. And with the bell icon hit, you'll be notified whenever we do upload a video. As always, thanks for watching.